Well, it's unclear how many classified materials have been obtained from President Biden's office and his home. House Republicans have been demanding that the White House turn over all information related to the documents from his time as vice president. This includes any visitor logs or databases to track how many people have come and how many have gone, or if someone may have had access to those top secret documents. Let's bring in Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs, who is a member of the House Oversight and Judiciary Committee. Congressman, so great to see you. You know, it's really stunning to me to hear President Biden say he has no regrets. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was stunned, quite frankly, because here's a guy that these documents obviously came out of his term as vice president, and that's 6 years ago. And they've been floating around here and there. And the timeline is all screwed up. We don't know really when they found the documents. We now know that it's been reported that there was an attempt to cover this up. You got the Department of Justice helping to cover this up. At the same time, you've got the dichotomous attempt to indict President Trump and go after him. I mean, the whole thing is mind-boggling, and it's been handled really ham-handedly. And you just can't help but believe that this was done intentionally to provide the cover-up. And so there's a lot there that has to be researched and exposed, Rita, if we're going to understand what Biden was doing. So for him to say, I have got no regrets, of course he doesn't have any regrets, because, you know, he just tells lies all the time anyway, and this is consistent with that.
And you would think he would, at minimum, I feel like whoever is advising him should say, wait, you clearly have some regrets. They were mishandled documents. I mean, staying there at the end of the garage next to the Corvette, that's got to be a regret, I would assume. It actually, to me, in many ways, it's almost an insult to the American people that there's no there, too, is what he's saying.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. For him to say and try to sweep this under the rug and say, this is no big deal. What I've done is no big deal. We don't even know the total number of documents. We know that there's been 4 locations. We know that their story is not accurate when they say, oh, you just happened to find it because we were vacating this Penn Center already. All of this doesn't even make sense. But he's going to say, this is too complicated. There's nothing there. And that's what they're hoping for, is that the American people will just let this slide by. But the reality is he's going to have to pay for this, in the sense of, we're going to have to expose it. We're going to have to get the information. We're going to have to continue our investigation in the House Oversight Committee. And right now they're going to stonewall us, apparently. But the reports are from two left-wing journals yesterday is that there was a cover-up going on, Rita. And of course, for him to say, this is no big deal, we weren't doing anything, and then they were trying to cover it up, that smells of guilt.
Well, you know, it's interesting you bring up the left-leaning media now reporting it, because, you know, you even see in the White House briefing room, they are continuously asking questions. And he's, you know, and even when they've had exposure to him, which isn't often because they're trying to keep him at arm's length, he seems to say, don't ask me those questions. It's an interesting strategy, because they're basically saying, okay, we'll go to the White House counsel's office or go to DOJ for response. We can't talk about it, but DOJ is saying, no, the White House can respond. It's sort of like who's on first, who's on second.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And part of it is because DOJ is trying to give this special treatment. The fact that they're letting non-security clearance attorneys go through and look for stuff, documents, classified documents, and then believing their reports, saying, okay, yeah, well, we looked here, we didn't find anything more. That's absurd. And so the DOJ is complicit in this, it appears. And so, and then for each side to say, well, they're going to talk to you about it, they're going to talk to you about it, they're going to report about it, they're going to report about it. It indicates just disarray and confusion at the highest levels over classified documents that have been mishandled by a guy who had no authority to bring them out. It isn't like he's the president of the United States and can declassify and store. This is a guy who had no authority to bring them out when he was vice president. And for 6 years, They've been floating around, and Rita, you're right. They're sitting in a box, some of them next to the Corvette in the garage that Hunter Biden is reportedly tooling around in. No logs to know who has been in and out of that place, had access to those records. It is a shambles, and it's a nightmare for the Biden team, and they're trying to stonewall the American public, and it's just confusion everywhere from that team.
Do you believe, also as a member there of the House Oversight Committee, that indeed, because there aren't these logs, and obviously it's a huge gap of time as you talk about, and we are also doing the honor system, basically saying we're trusting the attorneys that they found it where they say they did and when they said they did, and you talk about all the delays. Do you believe because of that, that there probably will be obviously questions, potentially even subpoenas for Biden family members and for probably anybody who was in and out of that house that you know of?
Yeah, there has to be, if you really want to get to the bottom of it, because I mean we know like Biden's personal attorney and his wife, who's a senior Biden official. You've got Biden's sister. All these people were trying to stonewall this and keep this under wraps. So you got to know, why were they doing it, number one. Number two, who else was in there, since there's no logs. So we're going to have to get them in and take testimony and find out what they knew, what they didn't know. And it's going to take actually some really good investigative work on the part of the staff for the Oversight Committee to make sure we have as much information as we can, bring people in that need to be brought in to testify.
Any sense of a timeline that could be? Because obviously there's new discoveries, it seems like, every week.
Yeah. Well, Chairman Comer from Kentucky is really on top of this, and they want to get going on this as soon as possible, because this kind of figures into a whole total stream. We were going to start really with Hunter Biden's, his bad suspicious activity reports on banking, where you have just tons of money going in from foreign governments, it looks like. So, it'd be abnormal for a single person to have one SAR, but he had over 100. And so that's remarkable too. So we were going to start there, but the Biden family is so rife with this kind of activity. So you got the classified documents, you got the Burisma, you've got China, you've got the SARS, you've got all of these things that we're trying to get to. And so we're going to be on it night and day. I can tell you that, Rita.
Yeah, you've got your hands full, a lot to investigate. Congressman Andy Biggs, really great to have you here, Congressman. We love having you here.
Hey, thanks, Rita. Always good to be with you.
Thank you very, very much.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309, or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.